Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Behind the Struggle podcast. I'm your host, usually doing the most, C-E-O. If you ain't know, say that slow. Now you got the info. And I am joined by the one and only Holy Guacamole. Won't respond to you if it's green when you message her. The one and only.
What is this? The worst WWE intro in the world? That is also not true about the green text bubbles. That is super stereotypical and
That is super
prejudice
true,
for no
Don't
reason.
let her tell you anything.
Anyway, what's up,
true.
guys? I know you missed me. It's your girl, Alexia. Chris was about to choke. I'll fucking choke you out. So if y'all could see him, because I know this is only audio, but he's wearing a ridiculous crown. It looks like he wishes he was at Burger King. You can't have it your way.
I am a king.
So today is a special episode. We're interviewing another artist, actually a very good friend of ours. Everyone say hi to Willie.
Sup, Willie?
Hello, everyone.
Oh, you hear that angelic voice already?
Angelique. Arriving on the mic like an angel. How you doing, Willie?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Better than good and better than most.
Anyway,
Okay.
So we met Willie.
Jeez.
He's like, I'm better than most. Okay. So we met Willie a while ago, actually in a Bible study. Chris and I, sometimes we refer to our faith on the podcast because obviously God is great and we are not afraid to show it. So
Amen.
It's awesome and interesting that we met Willie there, and he happened to be a singer. And we were like, you should be on our podcast.
Exactly, just like that. Verbatim.
So, Willie, where are you from? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm from Texas, from the Garland, Texas area. I really don't know my age. I'm either 26 or 27, one of those. And
what?
Yeah, I have to Google my age because I'm not sure how old I am, but it's 26 or 27. I know that for a fact.
How do you not know how old you are? I'm curious now.
Birthdays are important, blessed to see another year. I just don't remember.
You know your birthday, but not your birth year?
Correct. No. I know the birth year. I just don't know the year I am.
You mean you just can't do math?
Without paper, yes.
But why don't you just memorize it? You're going to be 27 for 365 days.
Yeah, I think I'm turning 28. I think let's go with that. I'm turning 28 this month on the 14th. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, wait. November 14th.
November 14th.
Just because we're not sure when the episode's going to actually air.
Got you.
November 14th. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Or happy belated birthday, depending on when this airs.
I'm still shocked that you don't know your birth year or how old you are. I'm like, what?
I think I'm not the only person. Most people are just confident when they answer, but nobody knows if they're lying or not,
Unless you count the day you were conceived, like the Koreans do, as opposed to the day you were popped out.
Yeah, I don't count that day. I don't want to know that day. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. Weird. Do you know how old hip hop is?
Older than I am. I know that.
Yes, you're correct.
Wow.
I'm just so shook that hip hop has a birthday. Anyway, let's get past this. So
let it go.
I can't. So from Texas, 20 something. So what kind of music do you make?
I'm still figuring that out. Of course, gospel, Christian, pop, R&B. I'm influenced by a lot, but still figuring out my sound.
How long have you been doing music creatively?
Doing music as in releasing or writing?
Yeah, I guess in a sense professionally, like taking it full-fledged, recording, putting music out, and constructing songs.
Since 2023, January.
What?
Okay, so relatively fresh.
Yes, very green.
Wait, so how old were you when you started singing?
Well, I have a story like most. Grew up in the church all my life. So, of course, sung in church, choir, praise team, the whole thing. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You sang in the choir?
I
did. You did a lot of solos?
I did.
Ooh.
I did. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, guys. This guy's got a voice. He sent me one time this like draft of a song, and I was like, that is good. I did not expect you to sound like that, Willie. But I was like, say it with your chest, boy. And then he went back in the studio and he did. And I was like, yeah.
I agree. She said exactly that. And I was like, okay, the shocked part. Why were you shocked that I sounded like that? You know? I don't know whether it was like offensive or if it was like
you guys can hear his voice right now as he talks, right? You can hear it. Like it's angelic. It's like sort of not really what you, I guess, would expect when you're just like, oh, I'm going to hear an interview, right? And then when he sings, it's like actually like really, really good. And I'm proud of that. I'm shocked because I cannot sing. Everyone knows. So anyone that can, I'm like, okay.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I've heard that before as well. People are like, do you sing? I can tell like when you talk. I'm like, I don't know how you can tell that, but thank you. Thank you. I take it. I do.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Wow, I didn't know there was a way to tell by the way you talk.
They could be lying to me to make me feel better. I don't know, though.
I mean, he does have a unique voice, you know? It's not like... It's unique. Why are you looking at me like that?
Thank you.
Seeing where you're going with that.
So, Willie, why do you make music? Like, I guess from a young age you knew you were gifted at singing, but like, why do you even pursue it? What's the point for you?
The point.
What drives you? What gets you out of bed in the morning?
Well, it depends on the day, but the point to making music is it's not about me. But since I'm gifted, since I'm blessed with the talent to sing and the ability to do so, why wouldn't I, use the talent that I was gifted and blessed with to talk about God? And not just in like the talk about God general way, but like from my unique perspective of this life, on this faith walk, on this journey, and just, share what I know, what I can testify to, what I've seen and heard in my experiences, in hopes that I can help other people as well. Because this life ain't easy. And they got a lot of cute songs out there about it, but it's like, nah, let's get to the real nitty gritty. This is tough out here. So, yeah.
But your music isn't gospel really either.
No, it's not. It don't sound like the hand clapping, foot stomping Baptist church, which I grew up in. It doesn't. I don't know how to define it, actually.
Yeah.
What are your inspirations?
I have a lot.
Jesus Christ, Christopher.
Of course. The one and only. But I would say musically, my inspirations, the biggest one that comes to mind is John Bellion, and his main thing, like his musicality, the way that he hears music and can harmonize and like layer it and just like build this whole like landscape sonically. Amazing. I'm not there yet. I don't claim to be, but his passion for music definitely inspires me.
So why did you decide to start doing music this year as opposed to beforehand?
Ooh.
Well, at least to the level that you're doing it now,
Yeah, I started like writing songs like 3 or 4 years ago, and I was just writing them, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Let me, put pen to the paper and see what I can do. And there was this one song I wrote. It always would like come to mind, and I would just like remember the melody, and I'd be humming it, and I'm like, why does that sound familiar? And then I found the journal I wrote it in, and I was like, oh, that's something I wrote like 2 years ago. Let me actually like
interesting.
Try to do it. And so I started writing, and I'm like, why don't nobody ever talks about like putting out music, at least in my circle or what I like my environment. And so I wrote and I released a song, and the song, you won't find it anywhere, hopefully. It was just a bad song. It was good for me to write it and to put it out, but it was a bad song in general. And I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And so that led to like me taking it more serious and looking at it like, let me actually put forth the effort to do so. So yeah, that's what led to this.
And going based on what you said, because you didn't really have a lot of people around you doing or creating music, how difficult was that? Like going out on your own to creatively start pursuing and creating music without really having much of a support system of other musicians or creatives around you?
Oh, it was mad difficult. It was a lot of questions that I had to find the answers to. And some I still don't know the answers to. So it's like, okay, how do I record music? How do I release music? What does a distribution service do? After I write it, do I need to copyright it? Do I need to? It was all these questions, and it was really, really stressful having no one
that
to.
you're doing alone.
Exactly. I was like, I need a team. Like, where's the team at? And so, yeah, it was very difficult. A lot of questions, a lot of late hours, a lot of research, a lot of Googling, a lot of typing. But yeah, difficult. That's the overall theme of how it was.
Do you feel like you are called by God to make these songs? Or is it something you enjoy, or both?
Definitely both. I do enjoy making music. And of course, I'm not delusional to like, oh yeah, I can sing. What? No, not me. I know I can sing. I know I sound good. Not in a prideful way, just like being honest, if you're talented, you know it.
He does, y'all. So
But but I do believe that God definitely inspires the songs that I write. And I make it a point to be like, all right, what you want to say? What's the reason for this song? Like, what's the message behind it? Because I can make a song for anything or for any reason, but it's like, I want God to be a part of it. So if I don't feel like he's guiding my pen as I write, I'm not releasing it. I'm going to leave it there until I feel that and until he guides me.
Ooh, I like that. Honestly, since you guys know I manage Chris as a rapper, he's done this a couple times as well. So the parallels between you two actually is very interesting to me, just because I know Chris better than Willie, and Chris is like a rapper and Willie's a singer. And it's not that those are wildly different, but it's still like, God will give you a gift, and then he will sort of make you or let you give that gift to others. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I also feel that, gifts come without repentance. I think that's scripturally accurate. I could be wrong though. But also, if you don't use the gift, you lose the gift. And I've seen that happen to people. Like, they can sing like, oh my goodness, you should definitely like go out, try for American Idol when that was popping. And they didn't. And now they done lost the voice, or it's not what it used to be. Like, if you don't work it,
Oh,
like that
really?
muscle
That's
definitely
interesting.
can
Yeah.
atrophy.
So, specifically you now, what do you want your audience to like take away from your music? What is your goal specifically? I know you mentioned, you want sort of God to speak through you, but like what exactly do you hope to gain, or hope the audience gains? Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. The main overall thing that I want for the audience to gain or benefit from is to learn something from the music and to get closer to God. Like, I hope my music, my message, my artistry, my life in general glorifies God and points people back to him.
I like
Actually want to double back really quickly, because you mentioned earlier how you didn't really have like other creators or people creating music around you, and because of that, it was very difficult, and you had to go to Google a lot to get a lot of the answers you were seeking, and you didn't really have a lot of guidance or direction. So, as an independent artist yourself, because we have other artists that listen to this podcast as well that may be struggling, going through different things as well, similar to this, I want to ask if you wouldn't mind sharing. Why would you say there's a benefit to that, to having other creatives and like-minded individuals around you? Like, what's the benefit to doing that instead of just doing it alone?
Great question. I'm glad you asked. I would say the benefit to having other creatives. Well, before I answer that one, the benefit to having nobody around you in a similar situation or headspace, you get to learn a lot on your own. And so you get to cut your teeth, have some skin in the game. It's your money you're putting up for studio time. It's, you got to figure out different things. And I just dealt with something that I'm like, I'm glad I figured that out early on, in the music career versus later on when I have, a mass of fans or whatever, God willing. But I feel like the best benefit to having other creatives is not feeling isolated in your artistry, because it's different steps being an artist. You create, then you execute, and then you market, and then you promote. And it's the creating, it's fun. It is fun, but everything else, you definitely, it can be helpful to have a team and to have somebody you can bounce ideas off of, so you don't feel so isolated, like it's just you and the song, but it's others as well. Not that you need other people to write for you or other people to produce or whatever the case is, but to definitely have that sounding board so you can get feedback and that constructive criticism, and just like, hey, just listen to it, just rock out with it. I don't need no feedback. Just, I want to see you experience the song. That can definitely be helpful.
So for this, since you're like technically past that point, what's like something that you wish you would have known before releasing, or some advice you might give to someone who is a little behind you right now?
Oh, definitely. I feel like everybody needs to know this. Do not go to the studio without the song being finished, because you will waste so much money. And don't go into the studio, even if it's your first time there, like you got to be on that producer's like back, because every hour they get paid more. So they're not in a rush. It's your money.
You know what, Willie? I'm so glad you said that, because I feel like that's sort of common sense, but it really isn't. So I'm really happy that you said that on our podcast.
Yeah, definitely. I remember the first time I went to the studio for the song, Not Good for We. And I'm just like, okay, like, what should I do? And he's like, yeah, just go for it. And I'm like, you're not going to give me feedback. You're not going to like guide me, like tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. I know the song, but I'm like, you're not giving me anything to like go off of. And he's like, all right, do you like that take?
Yeah, you need to find a good sound
Yeah,
engineer.
I was very upset, and it was a horrible recording. But yeah, you definitely need to go in with that mindset of, I'm the artist, not in a prideful way, but like, this is my song, this is what I want, this is a vision, stick to it. And if they try to steer you like, oh, well, you can, they can give feedback, but end and end, all in all, it's your vision. So you have to cater it to go which way.
I hear
Well
that.
said.
I mean, because it could definitely be disheartening, because sometimes you're going there, right? And I love this analogy. I forget where I heard it, but it's true. It says Tiger Woods has a coach. And it's like, why does Tiger Woods have a coach? Because he's like literally the best golf player alive. Like, why would he need a coach? Well, it's like because he can't watch himself golf. So he needs somebody to view him objectively to correct what he's doing wrong. And I think as an artist, that's what we need sometimes, I think, because we get so caught up in our own ear, like how we hear the song and the rhythm, we kind of become a slave to it and memorize it. And sometimes we're deaf to other alterations or variations of the where it could go. So it's helpful to have an outside source or second pair of ears be able to listen and contribute to help elevate the song. And it could be very disheartening when you're going there and you're looking to collaborate, and somebody's just like, yeah, just do it, just go for it. And it's like, what does that mean? Like, that's really vague. And especially with singing, I know singing for a big part of it, when you're performing and you're singing those lyrics and hitting certain notes, people have to feel that pain. They have to, like, it has to be there. It has to, like, hit the soul. You can't just sing it casually, because then that translates into music. And it's those little things I don't think people realize.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Yeah, so I think it's helpful to have somebody to be able to hear you and be like, hey, yo, you know what, Willie? I think there, like, you're good, but then right at this part, change it like this.
Yeah.
You know? So I understand that. Like, it can be very frustrating, and it's just like, damn, I'm here paying all this money, and then you get the end product, and you're not really
that
happy
part.
with the result.
And then you're gonna go what? Go pay double.
Exactly. I should have left that song alone like the first time, but I did not. I went back to try to make it better, and it wasn't worth it. But no, there was a particular time that you reminded me of, Chris. I had my vocal producer come in because I did all I could with the track, and I think it was Waiting. It was my third single I released earlier this year, and I was like, something's missing. I'm not feeling it. Like, the lyrics are great, but I'm not feeling the sonics. And I was like, hey, can you come in and vocal produce?
Yeah.
I don't even know what a vocal producer was. I'm just like, it sounds like I need it. So yeah, come in. And she came in and she said, I need you to sing this part of the song like this is like you're speaking to this person, and this is the last time you're going to speak to them. And I'm like, dang, that's a lot of emotion. That's very, like, I gotta, let me get there mentally first. And I did it. And I was like, you can hear the difference, even though it's like something subtle.
For sure.
I was like, oh snap, okay.
Sure.
But if she wasn't there, like guiding, like,
Mm-hmm.
doing different things, because she can hear things that I couldn't. Because when you're in it, when you're in the booth, it's like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And then playback, your ears kind of get like desensitized to it, like you said, but they're able to
For
hear different
sure.
things. And that's another thing, like artists have to realize it's not about, oh yeah, that's my vision, that's my vision. But other people, the right people, let me say that, can help elevate the song. Because the song can be good, it can be fire, as the kids say, but if you let other people hear it, they can have feedback or critiques that elevate it even further. And it's like, oh, bet now I could have did this alone. So having that humility as well definitely helps.
It's funny that you said that because I have a similar experience, I guess, to share for my album that I've been working on for like
Okay.
forever and a day. But I had this song that was called Crawl, right? And I was like doing different techniques on like how to write. So I would just listen to the beat and I would just start mumbling like lyrics, even if they didn't make sense, just to get like
Mm-hmm.
the cadence or like the rhythm. And I got the chorus for it, right? And I was singing the chorus. And I'm not vocally trained singer like at all. I'm a rapper. Sorry everybody. And when I constructed the chorus, I heard somebody with like a jazzy kind of soul, kind of old school feel to it to kind of like match the vibe of the beat. And so I remember speaking to Alexia and I asked her cousin to sing on the record. And so then her cousin came over. We were like rehearsing the song a couple times. And then
She got some lungs on her too. It was good.
yeah. And so then we went to go to the studio, and I was like convinced in my mind, oh, this is how the song's gonna sound. It's gonna sound like this. She's gonna come in the hook. It's gonna sound amazing. And I
Mm-hmm.
brought my friend Dennis with me, and I wanna give him a shout out, even if he doesn't listen to this. Only
He better
because
listen to this.
you brought up a very good point of people like
Mm-hmm.
having the right people around you. And this is by no means like me like a knock to anybody else, but kind of going back to what I was saying, like the importance of having other creatives around you is like, look, Alexia has great opinions at times. Like her feedback like definitely comes from a good point, and she can hear things I'm not. And some of my friends are creatives as well, but more from like
Yeah.
visual artistic standpoint. But none of them like musically create anything. So there's a little bit of a disconnect of understanding certain things. And that's not a knock on them, it just is what it is. So my friend Dennis, he is musically trained. He does have a music background. So when he heard the song, he had like a lot of feedback for me. And he told me straight out, he said, Chris, I don't think you should have the girl singing on this record. He's like, I think it should be you. And I was like, nah, bro. I was like, my voice ain't it. My voice ain't it. But I told him, I was like, come to the studio with me. So we all went. Me, Alexia, her cousin, Dennis. We had my engineer, Dep J, there as well. And we started recording the record. And he was giving me guidance. Like on my verses while I was rapping, that little stuff to help elevate it. He told me, he was like, yo, Chris, he's like, all right, after those 8 bars right there, punch in, but I want you to change your tone. And I want you to sound like, just picture that you're relaxed on the beach and you're sitting on a
Mm-hmm.
beach chair and it's sunset, and just talk like you're just relaxed. And when I did that, they translated, and it was like, there's nothing that
Yeah.
changed in my cadence. It's just my delivery. It was like, and it added another level to it. And then I went and I recorded the chorus as a template to give to Alexia's cousin so she could follow the beats and just sing over it. And then we had her do, I don't know, it was like 10, 15 takes. And we are mixing it. And I was like, oh, it sounded great. It sounded great. And then Alexia and them had to leave. I was still in the studio. And my boy Dennis pulled me to the side and he said, yo, he's like, I don't want to be disrespectful to your manager and your cousin. He was like, but I'm just giving you my honest opinion. He was like, I don't think you need her on the record still. He was like, I know she came and she recorded it. He's like, but I'm hearing yours and I'm hearing hers. He is like,
Mm.
I think it sounds better with you. And that's that second pair of ears that I was like, nah, you're wrong. So he told me, he's like, look, I'm not trying to gas you because you're my friend. He's like, this is what I honestly believe. And I was like, all right. So then I started to shop the record around and have people listen to it. And I didn't tell them anything. I just played it. I didn't say, hey, I'm singing or whatever. I just told them there's 2 different versions to this record. Tell me which one you prefer. I would play the version with Alexia's cousin. And people would be like, all right, it was cool. It's cool. Then I would play the version with me. And then people would, like, love the song, like, even better. And then when I went to go play it back, they're like, no, I can't even hear the other one anymore. Like, it has to be this one. And I was confused. I was like, my voice isn't, like, I'm not a singer. I don't have, like, a smooth vocals. And their whole point to it was that because the name of the song is called Mistakes, like, it actually makes sense that my vocals and singing aren't perfect. It kind of goes in line. Yeah, exactly. Like, it kind of goes in line with the theme of the record. And that's my whole story to that is just that case in point where it's just, like, having that second set of ears can really, like, give you something different. Because I was so committed to, like, having Alexia's cousin on the hook. You couldn't tell me nothing different. And it wasn't until all these people I was like, oh, damn. All right. So, to your point, I think it is important to have, like, other creatives, like, giving feedback.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can't hear it.
That's great.
That was very informative and interesting. So back to Willie. You had released 3 songs already, and you're about to release another one, but you changed your name. Now I think that's huge because that's like your brand. That's everything. So why did you change your name?
Yeah, that's like Pepsi and Coca-Cola changing their name. What's going on?
I mean, Pepsi and Coca-Cola got a fan base. They have history. I had neither. And so it wasn't like as big of a deal, but it was big. It was very personal. So when I was younger, it was one rainy night. I changed my name because WillieB, I think so when I released the 3 songs earlier this year, I was in the mindset of rushing, like, okay, I got to get this out, It's going to be this and this and this and da-da-da-da-da. Had all these expectations with no, like, foundation behind it. And I just went with the name because it was the best I had at the time. I didn't want to go with my legal name because I was like, people going to get me mixed up with Willie Nelson. Granted, 2 completely different audiences. And I was like, okay, WillieB, that's it, what it is. But every time I'd be like, hey, Google, play WillieB. Google would be like, who? Who are you talking about? And I would have to say WillieB3. And I'm like, that's not accessible. It's not. And just like, hey, I'm WillieB. How do you spell that? WillieB3. It's just too much explanation behind it. Then I'm like, why did I choose this name? And so then I'm like, okay. And I was working with someone a couple months back, and he was like, hey, I think I like this. And I was like, And we wasn't on good terms at the time, so I'm really not listening. And then later on, he said, I will be. And I was like, I will be. It's a statement. I will be everything that God created me to be. I'm like, okay. And then I will be, because my name is Willie Brown, Willie B, will be. So it just made sense to me. And it's just easier to say. So I'm like, yeah, bet, let's do it.
Oh, that's actually cute. I didn't expect that story to, like, come full circle like that. I was just going to say, we have the same issue because when we're like, play CEO, Siri's like, what?
So what do you have to say?
I never had that problem. I don't know what Alexis about. I never
but
had that problem.
Do you say play CEO, like do you say the song before the name, or?
I was literally straight up. I'd be like, Siri on Apple. I'd be like, hey Siri, play Who Is CEO by CEO. I'm like, now playing Who Is CEO by CEO.
Yeah, because that song is in your phone. So on your Apple, it's like,
I think you have to, like, train it to get used to it.
No, I don't know. I had to disagree because I'm not even going to front. Like I said, I don't know when this is coming up. But I literally had a customer like that I went to today who had no idea. He's like, yo, man. He was like, I was listening to your music. And he was like, you were real easy to find. I just typed in.
I mean, typing it in is different than like, hey,
what platform?
But no.
I don't. I think for me, that's why I say like the little funny rhyme I say in the beginning, but it's true. Because that's literally how I spell it. C-E-O. So if someone types it, it's very easy. A lot of people just spell it CEO, like just the letters back to back. So they may be like CO.
There are like 16 of them too. It's really annoying. There was actually, wasn't there one guy on Instagram that was like, I'll pay you for your Instagram handle?
How much was he offering?
And Chris was like, no, not a chance. And I was like,
let's go
we
for
should
it. Winner
rap
takes
battle
all.
for it.
Well, there's another guy who like literally has taken my name, but he puts the real CEO 87 or something like that, the year that he was born, like 1987. And I kid you not, there would literally be times where people would be in my DMs like, "Yo, CEO, I love this song. I want to hit you up." I'd be like, and I'd show him straight up. I'd be like, "You got the wrong CEO. This is the real CEO, not the other one."
Exactly.
You should do that and send a link
music.
with your website with all the music.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
That's
and
funny.
then they literally have put my stuff on their playlist, and I'm like, whatever.
That's funny. So IWillB is, I think, very unique. The only, I mean, you can't really get it mixed up with Will I Am. So it's, yeah, very nice, very nice.
Touche, Willie, touche.
So Willie, I'm curious, how did you come up with the song Reminding Me? What's your process of like creating a record and how involved are you?
And what reminded you?
Whoa, so many good questions. So many good questions. Which one first? No,
okay, not 8 questions at a time. I know.
This song specifically, before I went to ATL to record, I was sent some beats by the producer, Brian Ansell. Shout out to him. He's amazing. And it was this one song. The name of the track was Getting Colder. And so I'm listening to like 15 tracks and I'm like, okay, trying to vibe out to which ones. Because my usual process is writing the song and then making a beat with the song that I've already created with the lyrics. And so this one was very different to get my mind around. And it was this particular song title, the instrumental, called Getting Colder. And it was like vibey, kind of slowed down, very like Jeremy Zucker-ish or like a Cortez artist. And I'm like, I like this a lot. And Getting Colder really stuck out to me. So I started like, playing around with it. It's getting colder. Like, what does that mean? And of course the weather was getting colder, literally, but figuratively, I'm like spiritually, like, what does that mean? And so I kept going around with that idea, and getting colder in my mind is getting colder in the world, as in people are straying further and further away from God. It's not even hidden anymore, like all these satanic rituals and artists and all of this stuff. It's just like, okay, yeah, it's definitely getting colder.
That is so true, Willie. I do not mean to interrupt you, but that secular music and everything everywhere else, it's fucking in your face. I need to stop cursing, but God will prevail. That is crazy.
She was.
See her face. She was so passionate about that.
I was like,
so true. No, but for real, it is. It's like, and if they can be as unashamed as they are to do all this stuff in our face and these advertisements, why would I hide? Why would I tiptoe around? Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, Willie. Yes.
Yeah. So that's where the theme was, from like getting colder. And I'm
Praise
like,
God.
okay. I mean, I was in the studio and I'm going, I wrote some stuff. And the producer, Brian, he was like, thank you for reminding me. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. And I'm like, okay, do that again. Do it one more time. And he did it again. I'm like, okay. All right. And he was like, all right, get in the booth and see what happens. And it was something similar, like you said earlier, Chris, like, just mumbling to the record, seeing what cadence, rhythm works and stuff like that. And we came up with the song.
See, like I said, there was a point to my story.
But it was great. And I'm like, okay. And I wrote it and we recorded it and it was good. And then, Christopher, to your question, like what reminded me, I'm just like in that headspace of getting colder, like what's going on in the world. And, thanks for reminding me, because we can all use a reminder. You know what I'm saying? This life ain't easy. Don't let nobody lie to you. And I was like, thank you for reminding me, that, no matter what happens, I know God got me. I know that, I'm safe in his arms. He is my secret place. He's my safe place. And that was just a reminder. But then I was in Bible study, like, I think a month after that, and it was a scripture regarding the Holy Spirit, and that he teaches us and reminds us of everything. And I was like, oh, snap. That's what it is. The Holy Spirit is the one reminding me of who I am in God and who he is to me, a provider, a savior, a protector, all of this stuff. And I'm like, that's what it is. That's who's reminding me. And that's what I'm being reminded of. So yeah, that's how it came about. How?
How is it reminding
you?
In
many ways. In many ways. When I read the Bible, it's just like, boom, there it is. Don't forget that. Keep that. Meditate on that word day and night. In life, God shows himself and the Holy Spirit shows up in people when they speak to you or say something in different mediums, TV shows, movies. It can be anything. If you allow yourself to see it, and if you're meditating on the scriptures and his word and his promises, your eyes are open to see even more so, like, you know what? That was God's grace that I didn't die when that car cut me off. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's real. It's not as,
Yeah, Willie, I always say if God does not have your attention, he will disturb what does.
Facts. I co-sign that.
Yes.
I also think that sometimes, based on what you were saying, Willie, that like sometimes God speaks to you in different mediums.
Oh, facts.
We also have to admit that the devil is also at work. So he's always trying to distract us and tear us away from God. And Lauryn Hill, I think I've quoted this many times before, but she has a line that I love because it's true. She goes, if I'm the messenger and you block me, then you block the message.
Facts.
And I think a lot of times people have messengers in their life, but because the messenger doesn't present how they wanted it to be, they block that messenger, so they never even receive the message.
I don't want to turn this podcast into a Bible study, but it's hard too, because like you said, the devil is at work, so the devil be in your ear too. So it's really not, sometimes it's really easy and sometimes it's really not to be like, that was definitely God's voice, or you're like, who was that? Because, God can bless you by taking something away. So it's really hard, especially if you're like weak or emotional or vulnerable or cold, and you're kind of like just unsure of which voice it was. And, Christians.
That's why I think that's why you need to be open and perceptive to receiving God. And when you kind of, when the devil's winning is when you're losing that connection with him, he's able to interfere. I mean, we've all seen that meme, right? Like, God, show me a sign, whatever.
Show me a sign of your sign.
Pops up. Yeah, like, show me a sign of your sign. It's like, bro, it's like, the sign's right there, but it's kind of that whole thing.
But still,
like,
even if the sign, like you said, is something that you didn't expect, that could still be the devil. So Christians, it's not like we're like, oh, I'll help you. It's definitely from the devil, blah, 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 because it's not something I agree with.
Yeah.
Christians struggle with this just as much as anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why we have to be in community with, the Bible, with talking with people, and we need to be, diligent with reading the Bible.
There is power in numbers for sure. But what I want to point out is, and don't forget to like all the listeners that are, Christian or thinking about it. If you, there's 3 of us right now. So 3 is a crowd, right? But if you are alone and you don't know what you're listening for, what you're doing, and you can't hear him, do not forget that he is with you, the Holy Spirit is with you, and so is Jesus. So really, that's 4. That's already 4 versus 1, even if you feel alone. So right now, we have 3. Let's double that up to 12. Not double, but, put that to 12 because we all have the Holy Spirit in us, right? So that was just a little pep talk for the listeners. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, definitely. And the kind of I was trying to say is, that's why you need to be with the community and you need to be in line with the Bible because, Kendrick Lamar had this interlude on To Pimp a Butterfly, and that whole album is about him dealing about fame and whatnot, and the devil. He literally calls the devil on that album Lucy. And there's an interlude where he literally says, verbatim, he said, "What's wrong, nigga? Like, I thought you was keeping it gangster. They said if you scared, go to church, but remember, he knows the Bible too." And it's true, the devil knows the Bible back and forth. That's why you got to be familiar with it, because he could take pieces of the Bible,
that's so true,
manipulate it, and make you go the other way.
And I think that's the main misconception or deception that the devil uses. It's like he wants you to think that he's dumb and he don't know nothing. Like, no, he's slick.
He thrives in confusion. If you don't know, then that's not a yes or a no, and that's the place he wants you to be.
Exactly. You definitely have to discern between good and evil, between right and wrong. And the easiest way to do that is to get closer to God.
That's also why community is very important as well, because when you're falling off the path, it's good to be able to go back to people that could put you back on the path, and vice versa, because we do that for each other.
Definitely. It's hard doing it alone. And I know some of y'all want to be independent and INDE. Yes, you can spell it. Cool. But you also need to depend on others as well. So you can lean on them when you're not strong, They'll help you carry on.
Yeah. So anything on the roster for you, Willie? Something coming up soon? What are you working on? What's going on in your head? What are you drafting right now? What is God saying to you?
A lot. Yeah, definitely working on some stuff. New single, Reminding Me, is going to be out November 20th. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, okay. Got a date. All right.
So excited about it. Yeah, I'm excited I'm not trying to rush into anything else. I'm just trying to enjoy the moment, enjoy the song, promote it the right way, and actually, put some effort into the back end of it as well. But yeah, I'm working on, still writing. I have some songs on the roster, almost done.
What is there a theme? What message is God like speaking through you?
With this particular song, or like
in general?
In general,
yeah,
for me personally,
these days?
Or like musically?
Personally.
Oh, personally. Okay. Make every effort.
Yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Woo. Exactly. Prioritize. Seek God
Fix your
first.
face, Chris.
Seek God first. He got to be priority. So what I usually would do when I get in from the day, I would go watch TV, eat, go to sleep. Now it's go in, go to the secret place, whether it's my closet, my bedroom, pray, get some word in, and just really like study, because that's where I get my life. What they be saying, oh, that gives me life. Like, no, God gives me life, for real, for real. So I gotta definitely make sure I prioritize that, because it's like, if you ask me for something but you don't do anything for me, or you don't show gratitude to what I've done for you, what do you expect of me? It was a song that I can't quote because I can't remember it, but it was a good song. It was. Yeah.
All right, we're switching gears real quick. I want to get I don't know if personal is the right word, but I kind of want to get deep.
Okay.
So,
Pause.
Willie, you. Wow. Everybody, let's take a moment. Let's take 5. That's the wrong one. All right. So, Willie, you and I, we talk on the phone pretty often, and
we do.
I'm curious as to what your creative process is like. And I don't mean like just writing in general, like when you're like writing a song, but what's that creative process for you? The reason why I asked that is because I remember, I think it was a couple weeks ago, we had a conversation, or maybe it was earlier this week or last week, but you had told me that you had basically put it down, that you had actually stepped away from music for a little bit, and like you didn't really tell anybody, and you basically, just started, this year, and already with the trials and tribulations that you faced, you kind of already put the mic down and quietly walked away from it and then came back. So I'm curious as to what your creative process is like with that, because as so myself, Alexia will not let me live it down every time. Like, oh, your album came out in 2018 and then you dropped a bunch of singles in 2019 and then battled, but
that
then,
is not true.
Where's
but
the second
right.
album? But Alexia will say it. She'll be like, "Oh, when's this album coming out? When's this album coming out?" But I'm curious from one artist to another what your creative process is like, because I don't feel like it's a straight path for any of us. I don't think any of us sit down, be like, "Okay, today I'm gonna write," and then stuff comes out.
Yeah, definitely. I do. Like, some artists definitely need to take a break. Because if you just keep hitting it and hitting it and hitting it and releasing and releasing and releasing, I mean, what do you... Wow. I mean, like, what are you actually, like, pulling from? Like, to create, you need to be inspired. You need to feel something. You need to live life to be able to, pull from those experiences and those encounters and those memories and those emotions. So for me, I took a pause after releasing the 3 songs, because that process was very stressful for me. I did it all by myself, wasn't nobody but me and God, literally. And I didn't know how to budget. I didn't have a budget. I didn't know how to manage my time. I'm just like, I'm just going to release all the songs at once at this point because I'm sick of it. I just want them out and done with. And so it drained me a lot. And so after everything was done, I really didn't promote it. I said like, hey, y'all go check out my song. And that was it. Like I just dropped it because I was so drained and just, I was done. I was over it. And then I got back to it because I'm like, no, I ain't going to drop it. Those were good songs. They meant something to me. And, you know, just hearing other people, not that I have the fan club or anything like that, but like friends or family, they'd be like, you know, I still listen to that song. And I'm like, what song? And they have to remind me that I released music. And it's like, oh, snap. And everybody that has heard my music, like Waiting is their favorite one. And I'm like, really? Thank you so much. It took a lot out of me, but thank you. And just using that to motivate and encourage me. And I'm like, I know God's not using me as a vessel to write these songs and to sing the songs. So let me put the pen back to the paper. So I got back into the studio. I started to get uncomfortable because I think what also stopped me was because I think I was talking to you, Chris, and I was like in the process of releasing and, you know, in the studio and stuff like that earlier this year. And you were like, so when are you going to get on stage or like, you know, shows or anything like that? And I was like, I don't know when I'm going to do that. It's very uncomfortable for me. And had a bit of stage fright even before the stage was even a thing. Nobody was asking me to come on stage, but I still was like, let me hide behind the curtains. And so that uncomfort challenged me in a way that was like, yeah, I don't know. It's unknown. I don't like it. But now I'm back at it. I'm like, no, into the unknown. Straight up Frozen 2. You know what I'm saying? Let's go for it. Let's dive in. So just being in a place and a headspace to be comfortably uncomfortable is what drove me to this point. And creativity is easy for me, not to brag, but like hearing something, getting an idea like, ooh, that is so good. Like nobody's ever had it from that perspective. Like even Waiting, I was like that moment of excitement, that epiphany was like people making songs, you know, Wait on the Lord by Fred Hammond. And I'm pretty sure Marvin Sapp got a song talking about he waiting on God. And I'm like, bet. But all the time, God's like, you're not waiting on God. Sometimes he wait on you. And like, what would that sound like in a conversation? So that's where that inspiration came from Waiting. And so
sorry for my ad libs.
No, you're fine. But it's just different stuff like that that gets me excited. And I think that answered your question.
No, it definitely did. And you mentioned something about being in the right headspace, which was also curious for me because I found for myself that my creative process, like, so I'm someone that's very routine. I like to have a routine that kind of keeps me in line. So when things kind of get thrown off, it throws me off my game. But at the same time, I'm also like the kind of creative where like I just need to be lazy for a while, like literally not doing anything, not thinking about music, and just living life and letting experiences happen to me, and then come back to it. And what if this is the same for you?
Wait, hold on. Before you pose that question, you said you don't like, sometimes you like to be lazy and live life for a while. But I want you to switch the lazy, because sometimes you can get in your head like, oh, I'm lazy if I'm not actively pursuing music or I'm not actively creating. But switch that perspective to I'm just living life right now and experiencing life. And then when I get back to the music, I have something to pull from versus me being lazy and me actually putting in work.
Okay. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely looking at that laziness as something different. I mean, it's funny you said that because in a song I was working on, I had a line where it says, like, people always ask, like, not how I'm doing, but what am I doing? You know, it's almost like they see me as a product and not the person. So it's like, oh, what are you putting out? What have you done for me lately?
Except for me.
But aside from that. But, you know, so, like, but putting that to the side, you know, because I'm not trying to be like, oh, you know, it's not the case. But my point is, I know for myself, when I start to get, like, really hands-on, like, in the dirt with music, it consumes me. Like, I think about nothing else but the music. Like, almost to the point where I become a hermit. Like I cut everything off. Like everybody, you cannot reach me. Like
where
because
you're
I'm
like
so
worshiping
focused.
that, and obviously that's not what you're supposed to be
I'm
doing.
so glad you said that.
I guess so, because like it needs like I like when it gets to that, it's like my focus goes direct like 100. But like I can't stop thinking about it. Like I remember when I was working on my first album, even singles, literally, like there was always of like Eminem talks about this, and Alexis is probably just perked up because of Eminem, but Eminem says this all the time. They ask him like, "How do you come up with your rhymes?" And he's like, I always have rhymes in my head." He walks around with a notepad and he just scribbles little things. And that used to be me. Like, literally, every time I would talk. Like, even now it happens. Like, Alexia will be talking to me and she'll say something. And I'll, like, notice the rhythm in it. I'm like, oh, that was a bar.
That's because
She's like,
I
"What
be
did I just
rapping,
say?"
for real. I be rapping, I don't even know it. I be dropping
Yeah, I wish y'all
bars,
saw her
like
face,
heavy
y'all.
bars.
Like, every day. But, like, I noticed that. And it got to a point where, like, it just consumes me. Like, I'll literally wake up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because I'll feel inspired. And I'll, like, a song that I was sleeping on for, like, a month, the lyrics will hit me at 3 in the morning, and I wake up and I start writing. And it's like, I can't stop. It's like, oh, okay, I figured out the whole thing. And so now it's at a point where, like, that voice in my head is almost, like, silent. Like, I don't hear those lyrics anymore. I don't hear the talking. I don't hear the constant ideas. And I think I kind of needed that to take a break because I was getting so consumed. And then when I would share this music with people, and then people would be like, "Oh, that's not good. That's not good." I would reclude back, and I would go right back to the drawing board. Like I'm not like, "Oh yeah, I got to this level." If I'm looking at it like a video game, like, "Oh, I was level 57. Let me bring this up." They're like, "Oh, nah, that's not good." And I'm like, "All right, well, I'm still level 57." I'm like, "No, I go all the way back to 0." Like, that's how I do it, and I restart and I rebuild myself from that. So I'm curious if it's the same way for you, where you kind of have to like just
Nah, that was oddly
yourself with it.
specific. Like, if I doubt anyone, including Willie, was like, "Yeah, I can relate."
Totally.
I'm
glad you
I've
said
heard
that. You
other
took the words
creatives.
right out my mouth. Like,
I mean, look, I've literally heard of creatives that have done that. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Tame Impala.
I haven't.
Tame Impala, he literally like bought a whole beach house on an island, surrounded himself by himself with all musical instruments for a year, and he just lived alone like that for a year and created an album. Kanye West, that's the one that Alexia hates, but when he created My Dark
Unnecessary.
Twisted Beautiful Fantasy, he flew everybody out, and he had a routine and a regimen to work on that album like it was like a job for I think 10 months straight. You know, and they just consume themselves like that and just focus. Like, I hear this from a lot of rappers. You know, it's like they just get in the zone. And
Okay, so rapping may be a bit different than singing. I mean, granted, it is, but in the creative process that you're referring to, I feel like I don't want to get consumed like what old dude with the instruments in the beach house. That sound very isolated and lonely and like just, why would I do that? No, thank you. Kanye flying people out, his team, the right people in his circle to help him. I get carving out time so you can be focused primarily on this, so you finish what you started. I'm all for that, you know. Start what you finish what you start. Boom, bam, more power to you. But when I was working on the 3 songs, Progression Not Perfection, You Still Love Me, and Waiting, I think it was when I finished You Still Love Me, and something like, I forget what it was. It was either a person said something or something reminded me, ironically. It was, I was getting lost in the music, but God gave me the music, but I was losing sight of him. It was like I was loving the message, but forgetting about the messenger. And oh yeah, that's what I said. I said I was focusing on the gift, but not the giver. And that really like rocked my world, because I'm like, how can I focus on what you gave me, but not focused, like my gratitude, my thankfulness, my heart for you is like fading away, and I'm putting you on the back burner when you're the one that blessed me with this song, with the voice to sing, with the money to go to the studio, like all of these resources. And it's like, that's not fair to you. So I legit took a pause and I'm like, God, I'm sorry. That ain't the purpose. You know, I'm trying to focus on this and do it right by you, but I can't forget you in the process. So I got to make sure you're included. But my process is, I mean, similar like you, like sometimes somebody can say something or I'm in Bible study and I hear something, or like even get inspired from other songs, and I'm like, let me write that down. I'd be doing voice memos on my phone. I just be going for stuff, and like something sticks, of course. And it's fun when it happens. I remember as well, like same as you, I remember having a thought in my head when I was asleep, and I'm like, oh, I got to do that. Rolled over, got the voice memo, I mumbled it, make sure it's, audible, and I'm good. I come back to it like, oh, that is dope. Like, how did I come up with that? I don't know. I'm not going to question it. Just going to go with it. But I don't think I've ever been consumed so much that it's like, oh yeah, let me just scratch this, start all over. I think the closest, well, not the closest, when I sent a song to y'all and some other people in my circle, and I got feedback from everybody, and it was like, something's off. Because I noticed something was off, but I couldn't articulate what was off. And when y'all gave me the feedback, I went back to the drawing board. But I wasn't like you. I didn't go back to zero.
Oh, I thought you meant something was off with us.
No. Something was off with the song. And I had to set my pride aside, or like, nah, this song is amazing. Do. Nothing else has to be added to it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, no, they're right. Clearly something is off. So let me rewrite, let me rework. But I never want to get consumed with the music, because that's not the focus. It's not the priority. And if I lose myself in that, Eminem, lose yourself in the moment, you know it. I'm sure you know it. I don't want to lose myself in that. I want to lose myself in God, because he's the end all be all.
You better never let it go.
Gotta hold on to him. All
right. So I guess to answer my question, no, I guess I'm alone in this process. Thank you, Willie. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Here for
all right, I'm alone. I guess it's just my process, because even when I was in college and I worked on my film, I did the same thing. Like, I literally would go to sleep and I dreamt about it.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, Chris, because, sleep and rest is
Yeah.
just as important as, like, the productivity. So you're taking it, like, I don't know, super literal, where, like, it's not lazy. You need, like, to work on it, and then you need to
you need
not
an off
work
switch
on it. And
like, it's like you working from home, basically.
That makes sense.
You don't know where the line ends and you begin. So you got to have that distinction so you don't get lost in it. Because you can burn yourself out like that, too. And it's not very creative in that headspace, it doesn't sound like. If you're always on.
He's like, yeah, I've been burnt out.
Yeah, I've been burnt out for a minute, but not. I think it's just because of there's a part of me, and this is like a Willie interview. My bad, I'm making it about me. But I think there's a part of me to kind of like, because my music is so like special to me. So like when I put it out, it's almost like my child.
Are you saying it's not special to Willie?
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let you finish, but no, I feel like it is. It is a baby. It is, because you birthed it, you create it, and you give it out to the world. But art is up to the interpretation of the person, the listener, the audience.
All right. Here's a good example, because y'all heard it on the podcast. No, actually you didn't. But this happened before the podcast. So, it's like, metaphorically.
Both of us are looking at you like, what?
Let me finish my point then. You have your kid, right? And it's like, like you've put a lot of time, you've raised them, the same thing with your music. You put a lot of you into it, and then you present it out into the world. And then someone's bullying your kid or picking on your kid. It's like, oh, your kid's ugly, your kid is that or whatever, right? Just like earlier, and I'm not saying this like, but I'm just using it as an example.
What happened earlier?
When Alexia's like, oh, like when Alexia's like, oh, like you got to hear that song Chris made, called "You Good." That shit was whack, it's garbage, right? And then it's like I work on it, and then I put it out, and then it's like, all right, here's my kid, and she goes, nah, trash, and it's like, oh, so
the difference is you asked me how that kid looked.
Yeah. That point.
My point was I wasn't trying to make it about that, but I'm just using that as an example. Like, that didn't hurt me. I wasn't like, bitch, Alexia. Like, no, like, I agreed. But my point is, like, I think as artists, we are sensitive, and, like, our music is very dear to us.
You know what?
I
take that back.
That stuff out, and we don't get the response we want.
I don't want to co-sign that. I'm not sensitive about my music. Because if I was sensitive about it, I wouldn't put it out. If I know my kid isn't ready for school or ready to go outside and play with the other kids, I'm not sending my kid out there. I'm going to prepare you before you go outside. So this song is going to be top tier. I'm going to do my best. And then I'm going to release it. What am I defending my song for? It can defend itself.
Yeah, because your kid should be able
That's
to
all I'm
defend
saying.
himself. Hey.
Now, if you send your kid out with one shoe,
wasn't
one
yours
sock,
anyway.
your kid
Get out of
bullied,
here.
of course.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for nothing, Chris. Anyway, Willie, back to you.
Yo, Alexia, you good? You ain't acting like you normally would.
You want to get out the hood? You good?
Oh my god. Yo, y'all heard how she said it, but
That's
the
how
face
bad.
with it made it
That's
worse.
how bad it was.
You good? You want to get out the hood? Horrible. But all right, so our creative processes are obviously way different, but I was just curious.
Yeah, there were some similarities in there, definitely.
Like.
I also feel like for newer artists, I'm a new artist. For newer artists, because I'm trying to speak to the newer artists, but I'm a new artist myself. Being in this, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's definitely important to switch it up. If you're used to just writing the song first and getting the beat made to the song, like I was, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But also stretch out as well. Listen to some beats and see what you can come up with on a beat. And sometimes just go for it. Don't get no pen and paper. Just go off the dome, freestyle it. I know it's different singing, but still go with some melody, some oohs, some ahs, and just see what sticks.
As long as you don't sell your soul for the fame, do whatever it takes.
And always prioritize your relationship with God. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Chris really took that to heart. He's not saying anything. Okay, bye. So
Nah. You know, because I was all right. Pointing me out there on Front Street, like the lady pushed me out to the front of the stage. Basically, like I think for us it's different, and I don't want to sound like blasphemous when I say this, but I think it's different for us because I'm a child of God, but my music itself doesn't operate from that place.
Dumb that down for me. What you mean?
So, as you had stated, you know, your music, the focus point and the inspiration for it is God, you know? So, for me, that's not where my inspiration comes from. My inspiration comes from my life experiences, my perception of the world, how I see things, relationships, and people, and also that competitive edge that an MC should have to be the best or be as good as I can be. So my faith, I think that's the difference within us, doesn't play as much of a role into my music as it may for you.
I can get that.
Maybe it should. Christian EP, y'all, coming soon.
You know, I mean, because like when I think of myself, I don't look at myself like, oh, I'm a Christian rapper. Like all I do is biblical stuff. Like I literally have a song called Reminisce where I don't want to get into crazy in the lyrics, but it has two different sides to it. Like I talk.
Let's just say don't listen to it.
No, I mean I get that too because I feel like even people who are Christian artists, they get typecast or like limited just to do this, and it's like I'm a Christian who's an artist. I'm a singer who's a Christian. Like I don't try to box me in.
Exactly. You know, like if a plumber comes to your house, you know, like. Are you a Christian plumber?
Exactly.
Like, no, I'm just a plumber.
Like, granted, the songs are gonna be
like, you know, I'm not. I don't plumb in the name of God. I'm not.
Get that.
Your toilet in the name of God. Like, what the heck? You know, like it's a core of me, but it isn't like every lyric of mine isn't like. All right,
exactly. But if it's that big of a part of your life, whether it's your family or your friends or your career, your cars, money, whatever is big in your heart,
you can still integrate it. It doesn't have to take
regardless.
over.
If you saying Jesus, God, I love you, and if you're not, it's still gonna be in that through line of the music. Yeah.
Agreed. 100%. There are certain topics I just don't touch on or talk about because it doesn't align with who I am. It's something I don't agree with. And I think that has to do with my own faith personally. But I don't like, but I don't look at my music
I feel like that's cringy.
My faith in
like if you got to force it, it's not authentic.
It's got to be me. Exactly. Yeah, I hate it when you hear people literally like rapping or singing. They're like, you know, Ecclesiastes 1:13, and it's just like you telling me like literally like passages in the Bible to read. Like
where did that come from?
Exactly. You know, it's like stop.
Well, speaking of Willie, where can everyone find your music and actually listen to it, especially this song coming out?
Yes, November 20th is the day. It'll be out on all platforms: your Spotify's, your Apple Music, your YouTube Music. all the music places, if I didn't mention them. My social media on Instagram is IWillB. That's a B, no E. And then on TikTok, IWillB. That's me. Not that that's me, but IWillB. That's the handle.
I was like, what?
Yeah, you can find me there.
At IWillB without the E. So that's how they can find your music too.
Yes, you can find my music there as well. I have 3 songs out right now. Go check them out on Spotify, all the channels. Just type in IWillB. I will pop up.
So really quickly though, I mean, not that I want you guys to like make a Christian song together, but you guys have a lot in common and you're 2 different like mediums in the same industry. Would you guys maybe like, I don't know, are thinking about a collab anytime soon?
I don't know. No, definitely. Chris, you want to tell them? Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually are working on something. Yeah. I mean, God said no, but me and Willie said yes. And that's the name of the song that we're actually working on. It's called God Said No.
Oh, how far along are you guys?
Unless Chris comes too hot and I got to go back and like, all right, I got to elevate my game because he can't outdo me on a song. You know what I'm saying? It got to be.
Very likely.
You told me. You told me to outdo you. You said no. I want.
Of course, so I can be elevated
CEO,
as well. I can't. You know what I'm saying? Don't be dumbing down for
lift
me.
Lift each other. I like it.
But yeah, we definitely working on that.
But I mean, so it's pretty far in the process, or like, when are we looking into release?
I'm just waiting on Chris, to be honest, Mr. CEO over here.
Aren't we all?
God damn.
The ball is in his court. Okay, y'all heard it here first. Wait, no.
He got a lot of balls in his court. Pause.
Yo, I hate that she said it like that. Aren't we all?
Okay, so God said no. Hopefully before the apocalypse, y'all.
Hey, I feel like I let y'all down. My bad, y'all. Yeah, I feel like I let people down, bro.
You can make it up to them, you know.
Now you get it. We forgive you.
But yeah, we're working on that song, y'all, and should be out hopefully by next year. No, not hopefully, definitely will.
I was like, wait a minute.
I was gonna say, Willie, I'm sorry.
All right.
2025, y'all.
But yeah, okay. So if you guys want to learn more about Willie, you can reach him on his socials at IWillB. Do not forget to follow me on TikTok at Asexia, and my Instagram is at Lexia_Lou. You can also email me on the website thisisceo.com. My personal email is at the bottom there on that website, as well as all of Chris's music, and you can find all of his things there too. Literally everything on that website.
Keep me alive, y'all. Stream my music.
Maybe he'll release another song if you guys actually listen to his old stuff.
There we go. Put on the pressure.
Just kidding. But Willie, thank you so much for joining us on this interview today. Thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing your faith.
Definitely. Thank you for having me. This is my first interview. Whoop, whoop. Excited about it.
We're special. Behind the struggle,
behind the struggle. Exactly.
Oh, damn. We forgot to ask the most important question that we always ask on Behind the Struggle.
Uh-oh.
What's your biggest struggle?
Oh, that is a good one. What's my biggest struggle? Musically? Personally? How deep we getting?
However you want to take it. Pause.
What's God telling you?
My biggest struggle. Oh, of course. Easy. Ding, 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 ding. I'm locking it in. So my biggest struggle is, are you ready for it? Come closer. Yeah, right there. Okay, so my biggest struggle is...
What a cliffhanger.
Right?
Yo.
Exactly. Stay tuned next time. No, my biggest struggle is...
Part 2 of the episode.
Walking this faith journey, living life, being a Christian, being a believer.
It's an unfortunate truth.
It
is.
We're
never going to be perfect, and it will always be a struggle, even on the good days.
It's progression, not perfection. Every day you got to die to your flesh, your desires of your heart, and choose to follow God. Choose that narrow path.
You just got to keep praising God in the good times and the bad.
And the bad times.
Yo, who told you that? Progression, not perfection. Sounds like a wise person.
I mean, it was me. It was your boy. Okay? That's one of my songs, too. And that's what really, like, hooked me. Like, you know what? I keep falling. I keep making mistakes. But ain't nobody perfect Only one perfect is Jesus Christ. And he's in spirit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not focused on perfection because that'll cause me stress, anxiety, all of this stuff, depression, hopelessness. But let me focus on getting better each and every day. And if I fall, how fast can I get up? How fast can I'm like, you know what, God, forgive me. I messed up. I know I did. Be honest with myself and learn from my mistakes. That's the most important thing because we all want to grow out here, and growth is uncomfortable and it hurts. Don't let nobody tell you different. But you're either going to feel the pain from growing or feel the pain from staying the same. And I don't live there no more. That's the past.
And the first step to solving a problem is admitting you have one.
Facts.
Men.
Alexa's favorite line, chest is tattooed on
I say that all the time. I do.
But no, Willie, that was actually a bar right there. I don't know if you noticed it. You're like, I'm not focused on perfection because it leads me to depression.
See, I'm a rapper as well. If you listen to You Still Love Me, you know what I'm saying? Do a little rap there for you. But yeah, Chris gonna help me write some stuff. He's gonna help me write some stuff, definitely.
I got you.
I actually ghostwrite like 50% of Chris's stuff by doing that. I'll just be talking and then I'm like, oh, wait, what?
Exactly. He don't credit you or nothing.
I'm just kidding.
When I make it big, she gets all the credit.
Right. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Struggle. Be sure to listen to us next week for something even equally exciting. Even more. That's fucking rude.
I was waiting.
Wait a minute.
I was nervous, y'all.
That's what you're saying.
Yo, that's just a typical saying. It was just gonna flow, Anyway, but yeah. So thank you guys so much, and thanks Willie for being here and putting up with Chris and his talking about himself.
Definitely. Thank you for having me. It was a joy.
We love
Thank you
guys.
for allowing me to express myself on my own podcast, Willie.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Bye, Behind the Struggle.